Hey, welcome everybody. Welcome back.
We're
Our
back.
little 2 week hiatus,
We've been gone
unplanned
forever.
hiatus. Things, as I said, life happens.
Hi, Bill
So,
Sotak. How are you?
anyway, yeah, so we are back finally. I'm sure you guys were just dying of us not being
We
around.
missed us.
All two of you that are watching. One of them's probably Mary Beth.
And one of them's me. So, Bill, you missed us, didn't you?
Anyway, I do want to say, we should have done, and I'm kicking myself, is last week during the launch, we should have done like a live stream while the launch was
I
going on.
would have
But I
loved that.
completely
I would have
completely
loved
screwed the
it.
pooch on that one. Sorry.
It was a bit tricky for you. You were dealing with other things. So.
I had other things, but I could have done it. Anyway, yeah, so obviously Godspeed to the crew of Integrity and
yes,
on
2
their
more
way
days,
home.
and they'll be back home. Oh, and Mary, I'm here.
Yeah. Hey Bill, how are you?
And I'm hoping I'm hoping we can maybe still schedule something with Dr. Alexander.
Yeah, I tried to do something. I completely. That was another thing. I'm like felt like such an idiot. I'm asking, can you come on the show Wednesday? I'm like, the launch is Wednesday. He's a little busy.
Launch is Wednesday.
I don't know what I was thinking. I'm sorry, Doc,
okay.
if you're watching. So, but yeah, I'd love once he's settled down. I'd love for him to come in and tell us all about the mission. It was really cool watching, especially when they were going to go around the other day when they were going to go around the dark side of the moon.
Yes.
They had shots of Mission Control, and there was Doc in the background walking around doing his Doc thing. So that was really cool. I know that guy.
Yes, I have been watching the NASA live stream on YouTube every chance I get. It has been fascinating, and I'm very, very happy.
He's been sending us some pictures.
Yeah,
on the side that are yeah. So I think they should have gone around camera, just as they went around, and they should have started screaming. Like what did they see around the dark side? No alien base, no giant satellite dish looking thing,
But we've missed our chance to all dress as apes and welcome.
Yeah, that joke is getting tired.
I love that joke.
So many people
Splashdown is Friday night at 8:00 something Eastern, like 8:02.
Yeah, they are landing in the Pacific, so it will be.
And they are landing in the Pacific, so tune in if you're gonna watch. Jump on that NASA live stream and check that out.
Definitely gonna watch that. Very exciting stuff. We went back to the moon. Farthest humans have ever gone.
We drove around and looked for a parking spot. That's really what we did.
Well, they got to test. They get to test the systems, and this is the same process they did with the Apollo missions. You know what? You guys may be like, "Go, duh, Mike." No shit, we all knew this. I didn't realize that Artemis is the twin sister of Apollo.
Yes, Artemis.
I did not know that until recently, and I thought she's
usually
cool.
the huntress, and
the fact they get the whole Apollo. They're twins. I get it. That was really cool. I felt stupid that I didn't know that up until recently. So, but anyway, so that's cool. So yeah, obviously we want the rest of the mission to go as smoothly as it's gone so far. If the toilet not working is the biggest glitch, I call that a success.
That's a win right there.
And apparently they brought Nutella with them.
Yes, I saw that. And the thing just kind of floated by.
Nutella goes floating by.
Nutella, that's an advertising chance if I ever saw one. I don't care for it myself. So my brain was like, why do you have that there? There's no reason to have that there.
Yeah. Well, I think Doc would be able to answer it. But I suspect I think they allow them a certain amount of personal items, and that might have been one of the ones that one of them decided to take.
Why did you let them have sugar in space?
Well, why not? They need sugar like anything else.
I suppose.
I don't see it as I mean, it wasn't, they're eating everything else out of a tube.
It's not a hilarious.
I want to know, did the Canadian ask for a freeze-dried poutine?
That's a really good question. The astronaut food has come such a long way from what.
Well, they were able to make their own menu within, certain parameters. So that's what I was curious.
It's not like all that wicked.
Did the Canadian take poutine or what's the other, or butter tarts?
Or butter tarts or beaver tail or whatever. Yeah.
I don't know what Canadian means.
A freeze-dried beaver tail. It's
that does not sound.
It's a giant Danish, is what it is.
So anyway,
so you had a bit of a. We were off last week, so you had a bit of a. Without going into the details, we know we all saw your Facebook post. You had a bit of an oopsie at home. Do you have a?
Yes, we had a small fire with our chimney, our pellet stove. Some significant damage, but not like we can't live in the house damage. So yeah, my luckily we were very lucky. Fire department was great. You know, I being a firefighter back in the day, I knew enough what to do. So that definitely saved our butts. But
See,
my
Dennis likes
recommendation,
Clone-Tarts.
everybody, if you haven't heard it, you know, it's make sure your smoke detectors are working. You have plenty of them.
They
My
expire too, guys. Check the
thing is that
back.
they are they are there to save your life, not your house.
Yes.
So they took quite a bit of smoke before ours went off. I was already well into getting the fire
Which
out when
you
the
and I,
smoke
you and I were
detectors went off.
laughing about that before the show because this is my kitchen one, and it will go off. I will
Yeah,
burn toast. And it
yeah,
will
you
go off.
burn toast, they go off. Your wall's burning, it takes an hour
Yeah,
before it
walls
goes off.
burning. It's like
Yeah, so
maybe a
yeah, it's so. But the other thing I think is really important, I think, which helped was we had fire extinguishers. And I have, you know, even you know, and certainly don't hesitate to call the fire department. That's what they're there for.
absolutely.
So that's kind of my public service message. Now we just
Absolutely.
have to put it all
Smoke
back
alarms,
together.
fire extinguishers, and call the
Yeah.
department.
So now I have to. Now the battle is with the insurance company to get
Yeah.
what I
But still, you know
am
what, Rizzo? All
due.
things considered, it could have been much worse.
Oh
So I
yeah,
think,
absolutely. I mean, the insurance and the fire department said that you know this could have been really bad. So
yeah.
I was actually offered a job. They're volunteer, but to join their department because they were impressed with my work.
Well, when you get sick of volunteering for the set tour, you can go back and
No,
volunteer
I'm not
for
going back to the fire
department.
department. I enjoyed it when I was a young man. I haven't done it in
It
like
is a young man's
literally
game.
40 years. It's been like literally 40 years since I was in the
Yeah.
fire department. And I know I'm done. Every
get
call's
up
at 3
3
o'clock in the
a.m.
morning and it's minus
Yeah.
10.
Minus 10,
So
yeah.
so
That's for
no.
the young men.
Yes, that's
All
for the
right.
young.
Shall we do some news tonight?
Yeah, I think we got some news. Go ahead.
We got news. I got a lot of news, so let's see.
Well, you know, the boys drops tonight. I'm sure that was,
you guys, the boys are back. The boys
the
are
boys,
back in
yes.
town. The boys are back in town.
We haven't been watching that
episodes,
show.
Yeah, 1 and 2 dropped at 3 a.m. Eastern, so they are waiting for me on my TV as soon as we're done with this episode. I'm off to watch that. For All Mankind, Rizzo has been renewed for a 6th season.
And
Ed is already very old. Is he just going to be one of those Futurama heads?
I don't know if Ed's going to make it. I don't know if he's going to make it through this season. Frankly, I think he might. They're showing that his health, because he's got to be. You know, if you figured he was, I don't know what year is it supposed to be, early 2000s.
I was like, what year are we in now?
Well, no, it's like mid 2000s. It's still behind us because remember they were way more advanced.
No, it's not
face wise than we are. Yeah, no, they are. I believe they are. Or they're close to current. But like when the events of last season,
to the computer,
but the events of last season was like they kept talking about 05 and 06. So it's only like 10 or 20 years since the last season.
You're right.
And they do that great. One of the things I love about the show at the beginning of each season, they do that kind of newsreel thing to catch you up on what is different and what was the same to our timeline, so to speak. So I think that's really cool that they do that.
I love that.
Yeah, so you got to keep in mind that it's not 2026 in the show. It's earlier, I believe.
It's like 2005, 2000 and whatever.
I think it's later than that because I think that's when the last season was.
But we still have a couple astronauts still with us now. So, or they just passed.
I mean, Buzz is still around. I mean, he's not in space, but Buzz is still around. Yeah, most of them. Lovell just died not too long ago. Lovell had a really nice letter he wrote to the crew of Integrity that he did obviously posthumously. So, yeah, that was.
And while we're on it, Star City debuts on May 29. Moving on tonight, Viggo Mortensen has been tapped to play Christopher Dent, Harvey Dent's father, in the upcoming The Batman movie. Remember, we had been speculating it was going to be Brad Pitt, but no, it's Viggo. I like Viggo. I like Viggo's energy for this. I think this is going to be great. Calling all book brats and book talk friends, the wildly popular romantasy novel Fourth Wing is officially in development at Amazon MGM with some casting has already been announced. A live action TV series adaptation of Rebecca Yarros's novel is in development with Michael B. Jordan's Outlier Society producing. And I don't know if Liz has read this, Rizzo. I've read it. It's good, I guess. I mean, it's fun. It's okay. If you like murder and riding dragons, it's fun. Moving
not big on
on
fantasy stuff.
Huh?
I don't read a lot of fantasy novels.
No, this is a romantasy, so this is not your wheelhouse.
Probably needs a car chase.
Yeah, this is in your wheelhouse. News from the Well. RoboCop series is officially in development at Amazon MGM.
Of course it is.
Because why not?
Because we can't come up with new ideas.
Those of you who know us, News from the Well means they keep going back to the same well. And in a brand new segment I'm calling Quit Fucking Teasing Us, a sequel to the 1984 cult classic The Last Starfighter is perpetually in development.
Oh, perpetually. Yeah, we keep hearing about that.
But here's the thing. And they've got the rights. It's I don't know what studio is doing it, but they do have some rights. The film is not greenlit yet, but it's been in development. But in the meantime, Mad Cave Studios is an indie comic book publisher. They have obtained the rights, and they will be putting out some comic books and some sequels based on the last Starfighter. So we will be getting comic sequels before we get a live action sequel.
Interesting.
Whatever. And then finally tonight, all right, Rizzo, let's talk about it. Star Trek Starfleet has been canceled.
Oh, the humanity.
A fan petition now has over 40,000 signatures. So they're up to 41 when I checked on it yesterday.
Okay, so here's what I heard, and I don't know. You can fact check me if this is true or not, but I did hear this through some of the other YouTubers and whatever, that the overall average viewership per episode of season 1 was 40,000 people. Now
so
that's averaged across. That's averaged across all 10 episodes. So we're assuming that the first couple probably had more and the latter ones had less just by attrition.
I have no idea.
I don't know. But that's what they said was average. That's abysmal for a show. They couldn't even break the top 10 on their own platform, let alone across other streaming. And I hope this finally sent a message to Paramount that this is not the Trek that most of the fans want. I mean, it's just if you liked it, fine. I'm not going to tell you shouldn't like it.
Yeah, Bill Shatner put out a statement. I'm sure you guys have already seen it, and it was just basically he echoed something that Leonard Nimoy had said a while ago. It was just basically along the lines of, "Hey guys, the story's about imagination, and this is in fact imagination. So why are you guys all knocking on it?" But they do have the second seasons in the can, so we will be seeing the second season, but that's it. They're not getting a third season. Yeah, I don't know what's going to happen.
Well, that's the thing. And there was somebody, one of the Trek, I think it wasn't Trek Core. It was one of the major Trek ones had a good April Fool's joke that they were going to renew it due to the fan response.
Was it Trek Culture? Was it Trek Movie?
I don't know which one. It was one of the bigger ones that are on Facebook, and I did get a chuckle because I looked at the date and I'm like, "Yep, that's a joke." So no, unfortunately, I think the Acolyte had more people signing for a petition.
Damn, that's telling you something.
And they didn't renew that. And you have to put something into perspective here, though. That show cost it was insane amount of money, like $10 million an episode or some crazy number, wasn't it? Some crazy number like that. And you're only getting 40,000 people to watch it. And you only do, that's insane amount of money. And you're just not beginning it in. And that's what it comes down to. You could say, oh, it was review bombing or this and that, and they love to blame everybody else. But the bottom line is nobody watched it. And I think there was the AI video that had it kind of, it's like you were preaching a sermon instead of a show.
It also doesn't help that so many people are canceling Paramount left and right. I had canceled it a while back.
Yeah, I did not have it on. I dropped Paramount when the whole Colbert thing went down.
Yo-ho my way through that show. So I don't know, man. I'm sure there's other people who are also a pirate's life for them. Who are also watching it that way, but yeah, it didn't do the numbers any favors.
No, it didn't. If it was, and the thing is, it's like regardless of what viewer, YouTube or people ripping it apart on online and stuff. If people liked it, people would have watched it, and it just didn't get the viewership.
I think so too. I'm also very curious though. Some people were like, because they always love to go back to the fact that Next Gen had a rough first season. And then it picked up.
did.
And so they're like, should we give it a chance? Like that argument has
And everybody did before you got to Next Gen, people were already, before it even aired, Next Gen people were already jumping on it. It wasn't because it wasn't like the original series. But the thing with the Next Gen, I mean, it just, at least it kept with the fact that it kept to the Star Trek mold, in the sense that it was, you're out there, you're strange, you're discovering things, you're dealing with issues, and it wasn't all about the people, it was about the stories. And that's where I think under the current Trek, everything became about the characters and not about the story. And the story was just thrown, in my opinion, thrown together without really much thought to whether it makes any sense, just to get to this next scene with people talking about their feelings.
Exactly. About their feelings.
And I think that's
Bill
where they
Bill says, I lived 10 years between the original series and the first movie. I can wait. Speak for yourself, Bill. I feel like I might be dead. John Capes is saying, good writing is scarce. By the way, loved Project Hail Mary. Amaze. And that thing is getting rave reviews.
I haven't seen it. I want to go see it.
Me neither.
Because and there's a good example of, we have an original story, original characters, and it was made apparently very well. People like it. For the most part, I've heard very few negative comments about it. So yes, it's still possible to write a original, interesting story and produce a interesting.
It was based off a novel.
Movie.
Yeah,
it was based on a novel, right? Just want to loop back to things that like Bill said about Star Trek, this being canceled. And with all due respect to Bill, and I love Bill, he is not attuned to Star Trek the way the fans are attuned to Star Trek.
Yeah, I think he has a very.
He's more of a, it's on TV, you should watch it. You know what I'm saying? He doesn't even watch his own stuff.
Yeah,
so, I take what he says with a grain of salt, and that was just kind of the generic. I mean, I didn't expect him to come out and say, "Oh, thank God, it was awful," which is what people wanted him to say, or anybody from any other Star Trek to come out and somehow crap on it, which they're not going to do, regardless of what they think. So, and I don't think they should. But the bottom line is that they're going to always have that. So I don't put a lot of weight into that comment, and the fact that nobody watched it. That's the bottom line.
Starfleet Academy didn't bother me. I just sort of let it wash over me, and I just see it as a young person's TV show. It's not for me. It's not for me. I am not the target demographic for that television program.
I think the target. Excuse me, I just aspirated some water.
Please don't drown live.
I think the target demographic doesn't care about Star Trek, or not enough of them do.
No, I don't think the young people care about Star Trek.
Because I don't understand that. I understand they want to bring in younger audiences. I get that. We're all aging out, but those of us of my age, the ones that watched Star Trek the original series in the 70s and or originally in the 60s. Yes, we're getting older, but we're still watching television. We're still following the show. We have disposable income at this point in our lives. So you really shouldn't be kicking us to the curb, because you're missing out on potentially a fair amount of money.
Yeah.
Instead of trying to pull in Gen Zs and maybe some millennials that don't have the money like we do.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And don't have the attention span. And I don't mean that in a negative way, but there's so many other things.
Meme. It's literally that meme. I know you've all seen it. It's the Geordie LaForge meme where he's going, making me, young kids who are worried about their emotions, who aren't really sure what they're doing. Competent professionals that will take me through space. Yes. That you've seen that meme, right?
And the competent professionals is one of the reasons that this show didn't speak to me, because I've said this already. I hate to sound like a broken record. But they lost me the instant that woman said, I think I swallowed my comm badge.
Yeah, no cadet.
They lost me. It was trying to be funny. I get it. It was trying to be funny, but I'm like, okay, these people, if you're at that age and you're accidentally swallowing a comm badge, you have no business being a Starfleet officer.
Exactly.
That's my point. I'm like, that's what I'm like, this just doesn't make any sense to me. So, all right. Enough of that now that I got the hiccups.
All right, let me check we talked about
What
the
else news?
boys. We talked about For All Mankind, Viggo Mortensen, what Fourth Wing, RoboCop. Quit teasing us. Okay, that's it, kids. That's the news. Rizzo, what are we drinking tonight?
No, I thought it was
talk
appropriate. Lounge
V.
lizard, because the V people were lizards. So, dark rum, amaretto, and some cola. Can't really beat that. Pretty good combo. So,
Yeah,
I thought
amaretto is one of my all-time favorites. I actually was drinking it the other night.
Yeah, I actually have the stuff. I could make this. I could have made this. I didn't. I probably
Yeah.
should have.
A little
I even have the
maraschino.
cherry. I even have
Sugar
the
on top
cherry.
of sugar.
Yeah.
Who doesn't like that?
Exactly. I'd have to make it with diet soda though. I don't have any regulars.
Oh, Martin
Anyway.
says Martin.
Oh, just to give you guys a Kickstarter update. We didn't really talk about Galileo. The building is under construction. The walls are up. I think the roof is being constructed. I get these damn hiccups. And we did break the 300,000 mark.
We did,
and you still can buy. So any of you guys out there that are still interested, maybe you want a t-shirt, maybe you want a hat, a pin, or whatever, you can still go get that stuff on the Kickstarter, or I think there's the backer kit, which I think will be so. And if you have pledged and you didn't do the pledge by over time function, like you paid whatever right up front, you guys should be getting, if you haven't already, your surveys for like what shirt size.
I got mine. And I
so if you paid over time, you won't get that until the last payment is collected. Just be aware of that. Okay. If you want to do it quicker, you can go back to the Kickstarter and there's a way you can click on pay the balance or something and pay whatever's left. And then they'll send you out the
and then I was really curious. I should ask Dave and Brian this, because when I filled in that survey and sent it back, it said, "Thank you, you are number like 300." And I was like, 300. I like at noon when that Kickstarter kicked off, that noon of that Saturday, whatever that day was, I was like,
yeah, I don't know.
So I've got to be early. Like I've got to be.
Did you buy to get on the plaque?
Maybe I didn't. Maybe I
just. That was at a $500 level. So if it was less than $500, you didn't.
All right, I was just wondering.
So if you did to get on the,
Dave said everyone, and I was like, oh, that'll be me, and then whatever.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter. I don't know what the number, but so just so you guys know, if you paid at the level, pledge at the level to get on the Wall of Fame or the gold plaque, that will be your name will be in the order that you paid, or not paid, but pledged. So if you're one of the early backers, your name will be higher up on that list than other people. So just be aware of that. That I know. I thought we made that pretty clear.
All I wanted was that patch. Like I was like, I want my
which you can, patch. Yeah, and then you can. I think that was an add-on, so you can get the patch. The $500 was a really good deal because you got pretty much everything and your name on the Wall of Fame.
I got like a t-shirt, a hat, a patch. That's it.
Yeah. So
I didn't get glasses. All right. So Lizards in Space.
Lizards in Space. So this is 1983. It was done as a 2-part miniseries over 2 nights.
Full disclosure, guys, I got sucked into the 2-part miniseries, then went on to watch the 3-part Final Battle miniseries, and have now started the series, the actual episodes.
Which was only one. 19. It was only one season, yeah, and it wasn't even really a full season.
And they didn't finish it, yeah.
So it was I remember this really well. I mean, it was pretty popular at the time.
Yeah, it was.
It was very popular. And again, it was off the cuff of Star Wars, still very popular. So of course they had to make it a space kind of sci-fi thing. But yeah, I mean, I remember enjoying it as I wasn't a kid. I was in high school. But 12. I thought they did it really well. I thought the art direction on this was actually really good. I thought the uniforms and the spaceship design.
They did amazing things with no budget.
Job. I thought, I hadn't really seen this since I just watched it. The 2. I didn't go as far, but I do see what you think. I kind of do want to follow through now and see more of what.
Because it's not a cliffhanger, so you want to. Yeah.
I mean, it's still very 80s. I mean, you could tell.
Yeah.
I mean, it's got a lot of 80s production value to it. But the cast was pretty well
The
rounded.
cast was amazing.
Really good
Everyone
cast.
was well suited for their roles. Yes, this thing is cheesy galore, and yet somehow it still sucked you in. You wanted to find out what happened, and you saw, like, I didn't when I was a kid. I was 12 when this thing first came out, but now that I'm an adult, you see the allegory. Like,
Oh
you
gosh,
see what they're saying, and you're like, oh,
this was
okay.
a completely revamp of Germany 1930s.
Well, yes.
It was clear that that's what they're, and if you look in the notes of what they were doing, they wanted to do that not with the alien invasion, but just
humans.
Fascisms. I got to watch what we say, or we get demonetized.
We
and everything.
Can't.
But there's certainly, but they were going to do that, but they felt people in the United States wouldn't buy that. Like, oh, it could never happen here.
Yeah.
Well, welcome to 2026.
Welcome to 2026.
We're not that far off.
So the screenwriter is named Kenneth Johnson, and he had read a book called "It Can't Happen Here," what Rizzo just said, and he wrote it up as a screenplay, and he wrote it up as humans doing human things, and they sent it to the studio, and they were like, not glitzy enough. We like it, but it's not good. So he then was like, all right, fine, let's make them space lizards. And so he did. And he sent it back to the studio, and he sent it to NBC. NBC was like, too intellectual.
For space lizards? Well, we heard that before. They didn't like Star Trek.
Too
they didn't like the cage, so.
Can you dumb it down a little? But here's the thing. This thing is so accurate as far as the Nazis with an N go. Like the step by step, like every step that happens in this thing, in this miniseries and the follow-up is exactly so accurate that Germany ran the first episode and then pulled it and said, yeah, you know what? We're not gonna run this.
Too close to home.
A little too close to home.
Yeah.
Because the accuracy, even as cheesy and as silly as it is, the actual procedures and steps are dead on.
Well, even right down to the getting the youth, the H youth of the day, and they started recruiting. They have the Daniel character who you just hate from the first moment you meet this kid. He's annoying, and he just gets worse. The same thing with the girl that he's after. They always have to have the stupid teenager who does dumb things that just drives you crazy. I'm like, the whole thing where she doesn't end up pregnant in this one. We find that out later not in the first two, but we suspect it because she's having one.
Find it out. The baby's actually born in the Final Battle, which is the next 3-parter after what you just watched.
So the part I'm watching, that did make me go, okay, this is where they definitely took some scientific license, because we have two completely different species. I mean, they're not even mammals.
We need it for the story.
There's no way the little cells would merge and make another thing. It just wouldn't work.
Don't analyze it too closely.
I know, but it was just, to me, it was just like, okay, even me and my remedial medical knowledge know that that's not going to happen. You'd have a better chance of breeding a sheep.
That character, by the way, is Blair Tefkin. And it was supposed to be Dominic Dunn, unfortunately, she
was murdered.
She passed. She was murdered. So they pulled in what was it? Yeah, Blair. And Blair did as good a job as she could with what she was given. John Capes is talking about the art renditions. It was a very genius marketing device. They put the friends welcome, the visitors welcome you, the visitors are our friends posters up in subways, mostly in LA, but possibly in a couple other big cities around the country. And then later on, the marketing department went back and actually spray painted the V, and never told anyone what any of that was about. So people were just seeing that, and
so getting a buzz going. They got a buzz going.
Yeah, they had a buzz going. Yeah. Chris is saying having news legend Howard K. Smith doing the news updates was brilliant. It was. There were so many really brilliant. As cheesy as it was, there were so many brilliant movies in this thing. And then when you get to the 3-parter, the Final Battle, then you pull in his Lord Royal Majesty Michael Ironsides coming in, playing Ham Tyler. But man, he's like such.
He definitely plays. He has a certain. He's definitely typecast.
He is
There's no
typecast. He
question
played
about
a
that.
lot of these characters. Like he's kind of a wild card. Like you don't know what he's gonna do. Like one minute he's got the gun and he's backing you up, and then the next minute he's gonna like turn you in for like doing whatever. Like he's very. It was so good. Like it was so much.
Well, I mean,
fun.
the characters they had were even in the original. So because I want to keep it to the because we're talking about these first two episodes.
But
the characters they
Marc
had
Singer.
were very almost cartoonish characters of that type of person. Like the mother, she was the rich, wealthy woman, and she was going to attach herself to whoever was in power, which plays Donovan's mother, right?
Yes, Donovan's
and she's
mother,
she's like, I don't care. She becomes a sympathizer and basically a traitor to the human race because she wants power. She likes money. And clearly her husband was, again, that typical, he's just kind of there as another rung on her ascendancy to whatever. He owned this plant, that made chemical plant or whatever. And, she manipulates things so that his plant is the one that the visitors use. So, like I said, those characters are very cookie cutter, but they work because they were like representing, to me, it's like they're representing a lot of people in one person to tell this story.
But the thing is, each of the characters were strong, individual enough and strong, but the casting was brilliant. Marc Singer embodied that role. He was like the last guy they looked at. They wanted so many other people before him, and they finally looked at Mark, and he got it. Where'd she go? Faye Grant. She was amazing. But the one that stood out to me in every scene he was in was the grandfather, Abraham. Is played by Leonardo
Camino, I think is how you pronounce it. He, it's funny because he looks the same whether here this is 50, almost 40 something years ago, and he just died not that long ago.
He just passed. He looked exactly the same. But he brought, and again, I keep using the word cheesy. He brought so much gravitas to this thing.
Well, yeah, because he plays that old Jew, Holocaust Jew so well.
Yes.
And he sells that so well. Yeah, it's just, I mean, he's phenomenal.
He was amazing. Everyone, and the other one was Ruby. Ruby is Camilla Ashland, and she has a bit more of a role in the other one. But some of them just stood out. In the meantime, over on the V side, oh my God, Jane Badler. And of course, Robert Englund. I mean, and this was 1983.
So they did it really.
He's Willie, and we all love him. And literally the next year, he's Freddy.
Yeah, he's Freddy. Yeah, he goes from this kind of wimpy, sweet guy to Freddy Krueger. And let me tell you, I met Robert Englund at one of the cons in Montreal, and he really is the nicest man.
I'm sure he is.
He just was. His line for autographs was so long, and people were getting upset because he would literally take 10 minutes for each person and talk to them and chit chat. He wasn't just sign it and slide it to you and go and thanks, nice to meet you. It was like he talked to him and and he was just and it was great for the people who were up near the front of the line. People in the back of the line were not so happy, but until they got their turn. So he really, really was a nice man. You're talking about Jane Badler. I mean, of course, she's a beautiful woman.
Oh yeah.
And I thought the fact when they remade this and they used Marina Baccarin.
Jane was in it, and she played
I know, Diana, but when you look at Diana in this version, and then you look at Marina, that you could see almost she could be your daughter.
Yeah.
I mean, they look so much alike.
Not Marina. What is her name?
Isn't it Marina? How the heck's her name? Oh, you're gonna make me. Somebody will remember.
What's Deadpool's girlfriend's Vanessa's name in real life? And she played on Firefly, guys.
Baccarin is her last name.
Baccarin, yeah. Marina? Morena? It's Morena.
Something like that.
Yeah. No. In the remake, she was amazing, and she was kind of scary. She was really scary. And
she did, because she also played a baddie on the later seasons of Stargate.
Oh, did she really?
Yeah.
Damn, girl.
Yeah, she played the baddie on that too. Yeah. So, but anyway, just wanted to mention that. But the rest of
Richard Hurd. I forgot about Richard Hurd. He was in there too.
Richard
Yeah,
Herd will
just-
always be Mr. What was George's boss? Mr. What the heck was his boss's name at the Yankees? George Costanza.
Oh,
George Costanza.
yeah,
boy.
yeah.
You have to go downtown, George.
Mr. Willem or something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. Oh, so funny. So yeah, I mean, this thing was really, really smart. It was smart, but they managed to make it just fun enough to like hook you in, keep you going. You know, they didn't, you know, it just
No, it's entertaining. Like I
lightning
said,
in a
I
bottle
didn't
for
mind watching.
1982.
For some reason I had to buy the second episode because I couldn't find it.
Why?
I don't know. I had to pay $2 on YouTube to watch it, which is fine.
That's weird.
I don't know. It was like it was on Roku, but then it wouldn't play the second. It only play the first one, and then it goes right into the final battle. I'm like, well, wait a minute. I know there's something else here.
Oh, and then because then you have skipped a bunch, so you won't know what's going on. Yeah,
Right.
no, I mean, is it just wrong that like I never identified with Faye Grant, who is the hero?
She had that very 80s star look to her. She's very pretty. She's gorgeous.
Very pretty girl.
Like, you know, the blue eyes, blonde hair. I mean, she's but she fits that
Oh,
era
yeah.
so well.
Blonde hair, blonde eyes, blonde teeth.
Yeah, I mean, she's just perfect. And you know, I think she's kind of that anti-hero where she's like, you know, she's like a doctor resident or whatever. And she ends up being head of the resistance, you know, that kind of thing. Thrown in there, not
her way around
reluctantly thrown into a leadership role.
Yeah. But I don't know why I wanted to be Diana. Like Diana just oozed power.
Well, she was a badass in her own right.
She was
but
a badass
she was
for
very
a
evil.
lizard. And to this day, Jane Badler in many interviews has said that to this day, people would be like, "Oh my God, did you really eat that guinea pig?" And here's the weird thing:
I don't think she ate the guinea pig.
my memory, of course, I was a stupid little kid. I was only like 12 when this was on. My memory I did not remember any CGI or baby animation. But when I watched it the other day, I was like, oh, they did animate her jaw a little bit.
Yeah, it kind of got all like when a snake eats
unhinged
something.
But she said on set it was mostly camera angle, and you know, she did have a live guinea pig, but it was mostly camera angle and you know, stuff like that. And people to this day will walk up to her and be like, oh
I thought that's the other thing. That when they did get their faces ripped off and you'd see the lizard, I thought they did a pretty good job with the makeup, even for that era.
Because they did that one scene where he had the human skin, so they rip off the human skin, and it's still him on this side, but it's like that is amazing makeup.
Yeah,
that was really
what I thought was interesting when what's the blonde guy's name who impregnates what's her name, the other girl,
David or Brian or something. Whatever.
And I'm thinking to myself, because this is where my brain goes, so it's a whole suit.
Yeah, right.
It's not just here in their hand. They got the whole thing, including his package, because she would have. I think if he had a lizard.
There was a backstory where they knew they were going to Earth, so they had started wearing the human suits a while back to get used to them, and then they decided they liked them better. But then they dropped that, which was probably wise. But
yeah,
the other thing I wanted to talk about, the special effects were. It was 1983, so they were
1983, but for television, I thought it was pretty good. I mean, we would expect that level at least in a film, but for TV, they used to get a little cheap.
Yeah, they got a little.
They did say it cost them $1,000 for every laser shot because they had to do that by hand.
Mark Singer as Mike Donovan, when he got taken up onto the ship, what a great character arc. He gets to go on the ship, and then he's looking around and he's, oh my God, these people are bad. He stole one of their guns. So they had one alien gun, and it was the one that Mark Singer used the entire, like the whole run of the series. And everyone else had regular human guns and rifles because they realized we cannot afford that. We cannot arm both sides with laser guns. We cannot.
And clearly bullets were effective, and even the little rockets to shoot down the spaceship. Their fighters were susceptible to our little shoulder fired rockets, small rockets or whatever.
So did you? Now I'm getting the episodes confused. The first 2 episodes that you watched, did they go up and dump the water back out?
No, all they did was he discovered, which another cracked me up. He's walking through and there's these big tanks, and he opens up a tap and the water starts coming out, and he kind of, he doesn't know what it is. So, you know, he kind of does this and then he tastes it. I'm like,
taste
you don't know
strange
what that is.
Is there air?
Is there air?
Is it water? You don't know.
You're sitting there tasting it. This could be like that chemical that they allegedly were needed.
Killed him on contact.
I thought that was hysterical. I'm like, no, dude, I wouldn't have tasted it.
Open a tap and start drinking it, whatever.
I'm like, that was he literally starts drinking it. So I thought that was kind of silly. But I guess it was to prove the point that it was just regular water.
That was so funny.
Assuming they were desalinating it, because later I know in the movies they do show these big pipes going up to the ship pumping the ocean.
They're stealing water or some stupid thing.
Apparently, according to the show, that water is very scarce in the universe, and you know, Earth has an abundance, and their leader, they need it for their everything to power their fusion generators and yada yada yada. But I thought they did a good job. I think I said the interior of the ship design was good. The ships themselves. I thought the uniforms were brilliant, and I loved them back in 1983. I thought those uniforms. I could see why Daniel wanted one of those. Yeah, the sunglasses looked great. I thought they just did a really good job.
Fun stuff.
The only thing I think I had not a problem with, but it would have been better, is they really jammed a lot into that roughly 4 hours.
Really because I don't think
it's really like it's not even. It's like an hour and a half, so it's like really like 3.5. It's a little over, but it's like 200 minutes, I think. So like they go, because it really goes fast. Like from the first, like, oh, here we are, we're friendly, we're gonna help you, blah blah blah. It's martial law.
Welcoming to Lizard.
But you know what was really frightening was it's like, you know, and I kept thinking parallels is this: they're going after the scientists. Why they go after the scientists? The scientists are the ones that are going to figure out who they are and why they're here. And they're not human, right? So immediately, and again, we kind of see parallels, like, you know, like during COVID, and you know, they're basically telling the CDC doesn't know what they're talking about, and they're trying to lie to you, and it's like, oh my God,
this is relevant today.
It's what I'm saying. There's a lot of relevance.
This thing is more relevant today, given current events, than it was back in 1983 when it came out.
It really was.
Years after World War II.
It really is. It really is. It absolutely was. And I think I don't know how. I didn't watch the reboot. I don't know why I didn't watch the reboot, but I did. I'm going to now.
It wasn't as.
I think it could. Yeah. I mean, I hate. You know, we hate the well, but there's. I guess it's already been. They already went back to it because that wasn't that long ago. But I mean, it has potential. The story is solid. You know, I mean. Yeah. You know, every time we get an alien, you know, it's kind of like, I mean, we had Independence Day. The ships were very similar, kind of in a lot of ways, to Independence Day. Of course, Independence Day, they didn't play around with, hey, we're nice. No, we're just coming to take over. But you know, it's kind of that, you know, aliens come, they're always bad. You know, occasionally you meet a nice one, E.T., Starman, but then they end up being some kind of lizard.
They were okay, and Alien Nation, they kind of tried to live with
Alien Nation. They were refugees, which I thought was you know, we made one of these days. We should probably do the movie Alien Nation one of these days. The TV show was great too. I really enjoyed the TV show.
Wait, weren't they refugees in District 9? What was going on in District 9?
Well, they were in Alien Nation. They were basically like slave. It was a slave ship that became disabled in Earth's orbit. So they all came down, the people that were the masters, so to speak, and the slaves, but they all had to integrate as society as one equals. But there was still a hierarchy within. District 9, they were treated like refugees. They were kind of in camps and like, you know, like that was kind of bizarre. It was a very strange movie.
Those are two good candidates to do. This thing was so wildly popular that it had it pulled in like a 40%, 40% of viewers nationwide for 1983, when this was only 3 channels back then. That was massive.
And yet it must have been expensive because it didn't even make it for a whole season by itself. So, you know, they were doing this 2-part or two-part miniseries as a test to see if they could make it into a series, if it would fly. You know, I think they were kind of a
and then they did the 3-parter. Yeah, but the 3-parter resolved it. Like the 3-parter had a happy ending. So, it could have been done. And then they got the series. The series got cut short. The series had like half the budget those two miniseries had. And they got rid of a whole bunch of characters, and they started jumping around from character, and people's focus couldn't follow, and it just they completely, it just went downhill fast. So yeah, it could have been an outstanding series. It could have been one of the sci-fi greats if it had become a series, but the writers just couldn't keep the focus, down the line.
I think had they not wrapped, like I said, if they hadn't wrapped it up in the next miniseries, I think that was probably also part of it. I think they needed to extend it. They did have a small, they mentioned at one point that the visitors had an enemy that they were fighting, and they tried to, there's a whole scene where they start broadcasting out using one of the big satellite dishes to broadcast out into the universe to hopefully, attract these people, the enemy of my enemy is my friend kind of thing. But then they just completely abandoned that whole storyline and never happened. But it kind of makes sense in some ways, because she does say, Faye Grant's character says, well, it could be years before we hear anything back, which makes sense. It's going to take at least 2 years to get 2 or 3 years minimum for that signal to get to the nearest star. So unless they're in the vicinity, they ain't going to hear it.
That was just the writers planting seeds for possible.
I agree, but it did make kind of sense that you might not ever, she even said this might not any go anywhere, so it didn't.
Yeah, I just think that, I think that was just the writers, laying themselves a nice base, which was wise. But yeah, I think the studio was like, we cannot afford any more aliens. Don't you dare write any more aliens.
Well, they could have easily been like, never see them kind of aliens.
Yeah, that's true too. That's true. It was the 80s. They weren't that clever.
It was the 80s. They weren't that clever.
Everything was kind of in your face.
Oh God. So, but no, overall, I mean, it does make me want to watch now. I probably will watch the other 3 parts.
Just do the final battle. It's only 3. It's 3.
Yeah, and I'll probably at least try to watch the new one, because we did say we were going to try to compare and contrast. So
we were going to compare and contrast.
I'll watch the new one and see if it's worth doing or not. But if it's not,
yeah, I mean, I have been asking you for this one for a while. Thank you for doing it. I remember now how awesome it was. It was a good.
It was good, and I did enjoy it. And the reason I had hesitated up to this point was because we were going to try to do it like as a whole season and then compare it to the new one, and that was a lot of watching. And that's when I finally said, you know what if we just stick to the original miniseries? That's 3 hours of viewing, and then but we can easily go into the other ones if we want at some point at the final battle. If you think it's worth it, if you guys think it's worth it, we can do that. We can do Alien Nation's another one. I don't know what else. Of course, we don't know what we're doing next week as usual.
No, we don't. V does live on, guys. Like we said, they tried to redo it, and they did have Jane Badler on there. They talk now and again, every now and again, of doing a V movie. Okay, sure, knock yourselves out. But there are a couple of novelizations. They had novelized the original stories, and I think there's a comic book, but there's also V, the second generation, that just came out in 2008. So these stories, the V stories, do still go on if you are interested enough to keep checking them out. Yeah, I mean, just one of our not scary, but this one made an impression on people. I think mostly it was because they were eating guinea pigs, but past that, this one made an impression on people. It is one of our more memorable sci-fi pop culture phenomenons.
Absolutely. It's one of the ones that mostly, whether people were of our generation anyway, were into sci-fi or not, they remember this show.
They remember the show.
It's right up there with all the other popular stuff of the late 70s and 80s that we remember, whether it be TV or movies. And it kind of just hits that nostalgic button, so to speak, because we all remember it and remember what a big deal it was at the time to even watch it.
Remember Big Deal. They remember the characters. They remember everything. Yeah.
I mean, because I would have been 13. 1983, right? No, 16.
I would have been 12.
I was 16. So, I mean, I was at that point where getting a large driver's license and going out with your friends kind of thing was more important than television at that moment. So, but I still watched it. I think I watched Final Battle, but I don't remember really watching the TV
It
series.
aired like on a Sunday and a Monday night, which is weird to me. But so we would have been home to watch it. Kids weren't really going out on Sundays and Mondays. But
well, not at your age. Mine was a little
Not
old. Like I
that
said, I was
age.
a little older. I was only in high school. I was getting to that driving age. So, not that my father, gave me the keys very easily. It's always an argument, but that's a story for another day.
That'll happen.
John saying he had Alien Nation on a laser disc. You are dating yourself, my friend. You mean an RCA laser disc?
The big round one that looked like
the big round ones? Yeah, that's dated.
John thinks the reboot was mediocre. Yeah,
Mediocre.
Yeah. I think,
and that's why it didn't last. Oh,
Marina Beckman had a couple outstanding scenes, but the rest of it was the characters were not as strong as in this thing, and there wasn't as much action and shooting people and stuff like that. And there was no Willie. We had no Robert Englund to.
I was called because in the final battle they kind of torture that poor. He was like a nice guy, and then they used him as kind of a guinea pig.
It flips and flops. See, they one minute they're torturing him, the next minute he's helping them do stuff. Like it was kind of a hot mess with Willie.
Well, luckily there was that kind of fifth column thing, which
there
was
was
interesting.
the whole
I thought that was kind of an interesting twist that there was people within their own society that, again, paralleling events of the Second World War. There were underground within their own, there was a resistance within their own people. So again, that was all very well planned out, and it was done on purpose. It didn't come naturally. Let's put it that way. It was all very planned out. So, it was one thing I thought was kind of silly. Again, one of my, this is just me kind of being nitpicky, was they had their camp up in the mountains where the families were, and apparently that's where the scientific equipment was for some reason. And then they were in this like old, whatever it was, building down in the city, and they wanted to move everything from the mountains down to the city. And I'm like, every time they walk right outside their building that they're staying, there's the visitors right there.
Yeah.
Why would you want to be there?
Damn.
Why would you want to be right? Yeah, like why would you stay up in the mountains?
And then they still be like driving around the city doing things and say, I'm like, aren't you in hiding? Like, no, you're not.
Yeah. Well, it's just like I would think you'd want to be up in the mountains where it's harder to find you.
You can't think about that stuff too hard.
I know.
You have to just kind of, like I said in my teaser, like between this thing and the Wolverines, Red Dawn. Between this thing and Red Dawn, that's how I learned everything.
I loved Red Dawn. When that movie came out, I was so into that movie.
Screwed.
I love that movie.
The last note that kind of struck me that I wanted to mention was that, so like I said, the screenwriter was Kenneth Johnson. He's also the director. He had read Sinclair Lewis's "It Can't Happen Here," and when he first started writing the screenplay back when it was still Humans Against Humans, he said the very first thing that came to him was just a regular middle-aged woman out at night spray painting V on a wall, like in the shadows. And he said it was just this quiet, very anonymous, well, not anonymous, but quiet act of resistance by a very, very, very ordinary person, because it was going to be the ordinary people who were going to have to band together and rise up to defeat the bad guys. And I kind of liked that, and I liked that's where he started from. Did it really carry through the whole thing? Maybe not. But I like the sentiment.
They did other things I think they did right. There's a couple of scenes where the policeman sees that they're trying to smuggle people, or that the old woman firebomb the fighter thing, and he sees it and he just looks the other way.
Yeah,
like
he's like, they have friends everywhere,
right? But I'm like, yeah, right. But I'm like, some of the cops are doing the bad, going along. But some of the cops are going along with the bad guys, and then some of them are kind of like, yeah, I saw that, but I'm not gonna, because I'm not gonna say nothing. Because what we're doing, because they know what they're doing is wrong.
It just lent such a great touch of realism to it, because that's what's gonna happen. Like that is what is happening. That's what happens.
Yeah, but I'm saying it added a certain amount of kind of realism, because you're like, why would the cops all go along with these guys? Like, they have to know that this isn't right. And it was kind of amazing. Like, everybody turned on this. Oh, the scientists are all so bad, and I'm like, but then I'm thinking, well, I guess that's not too far off.
That tracks. That tracks.
So anyway.
All right, let me tell you. We got 4 minutes left. Let me tell
pretty
you
much at the end of the hour. So, but yeah, it was good. It was good. It was worth rewatching.
Yeah, thanks for doing it. I really had wanted to do it for a while.
But yeah, we should probably do Alien Nation that was about roughly the same.
Alien Nation and or District 9, but probably
District
Alien Nation.
9 is much more modern.
Yeah, Alien Nation is and that thing had a TV show too.
It ran for several seasons too. It was good. I thought it was really good, but the movie was really good because the movie was like, it was really cool because, well, Alien Nation was a sci-fi, but it was a cop show with a sci-fi twist to it. It was really a cop show. It was a cop show, and they had to solve this murder. Alien. They had to solve a murder, right? That was a basic show, but it had this alien thing and alien aspect to it, so it really worked in an interesting way.
John's reading for Alien Nation. All right, Phil. Phil is a go tomorrow night at 4 on Captain Phil's Planet. Phil will be talking to Neil Alexander. He's doing some live concerts in Newburgh, but he's all over the YouTube machine right now with his amazing synth keyboardist. He also has brand new music from his favorite band, Magenta. So he is super excited. Oh, and then the students take back over again because they keep letting the studios, the students run the radio station. I don't know why. Roy, on Friday night, congratulations, Roy. He is celebrating his 300th episode. It is an open discourse night. Anyone who wants to jump on and talk can. And they will also be talking a little bit about the Artemis, because probably Artemis will land during his show or will have just landed before his show. No, when does his show start? His show starts at 7. So Artemis lands at like 8 or something. So he will probably be doing that live during the broadcast.
Yeah, I only thought about us doing that too, but I didn't want to. I don't want to compete.
Yeah, no.
Roy. So I thought about doing a live stream for the landing as well, but you guys can watch it with Roy.
Rizzo, what are we doing next week?
I guess it looks like we're doing Alien Nation. There's a lot of people want us to do Alien Nation.
I guess we're doing Alien Nation because we're on an alien roll.
Well, we'll do Alien. Why not? So, yeah. And then beyond that, I don't know. Chris is suggesting
Chris LaRoche, the guy I was talking about, Leonardo Camino. He played on your monster movie that you recommended to us. He played the scary old man down the street.
Yeah, Monster.
What was that called?
Monster Squad.
Monster Squad.
Yeah. So, anyway, all right. Well, on that note, we will say good night. Live long and prosper. Remember, and fight. We'll do the V thing. Resistance.
Yeah.
Resistance is not futile. So, all right, guys. Good night. May the force be with you always. Live long and prosper.